Hi everyone, welcome back. Let's see how much time I have. I like doing vids like this because my computer, the camera likes to freeze a lot, so it gets really annoying trying to, talk to you guys and I'm like, like freezing like a robot. But when I do have content to show you, like I will still be using the screen recorder, and if it just freezes up, I'll just not use the camera on those. But for little short videos like this, because that's just the kind of time I have, I actually have my computer up, but I'm typing up some documents and I need to get that going and clean up my computer and organize some files before I even play with the screen recorder. You already know. So I hope you're having a great day. Thanks for tuning in. I try to keep my channel really versatile, guys. I have a lot of life experience. I've learned a lot, and I like to share what I've learned too. And I'm still learning every day. I definitely get inspired by each and every content creator, the good, the bad, the ugly, right? Because the Most High literally controls the deceived and the deceiver. But yesterday I went into that video on how the modern worldview is so messed up, right? And I'm just seeing it more and more. People love being deceived. Did you hear me? Tea time, Dia, tea time. That's gonna be my new segment. You got to keep it real, right? You got to keep it real. This generation loves to be lied to. Are we surprised? Are we surprised? No, no. This is what happens when you tell everybody they're special. You tell everyone they are doing the right thing, even when it's the wrong thing, which is such a total flip, right? Because I was born in '79, so I was raised in the '80s and the '90s, and it was just not the same. My parents were super, super strict, right? They told you. I mean, it just depends on how you were raised, right? Some people, depending what you are, us spiritual ones, us that want to walk righteously, we've been called a byword. I didn't realize being called a black sheep and a scapegoat and all that is a byword, right? Because black means like you have no value. That's whatever, right? For people who know law. So we've been dubbed like all this stuff because of deception, of deceivers in our lives, and of the people closest to us who were deceived and passed on that deception. I mean, that's really all that's going on. You see it old, young. I'm not going to box anyone in. I know people have certain bad experiences and they just want to box people into these categories, and we don't do that here. I'm all about healing and growing and owning your mistakes, forgiving those who wronged you, but also don't commingle with them again, setting up healthy boundaries, just having just walking with your eyes wide open, right, the way the Most High intended you to, right? Just to be careful, but not partake in the forbidden tree, so to speak, because that has a negative connotation too. Because people's lifestyle, it's like wicked is what wicked does. People like being deceived, and they really have an affinity for deceivers. This is like the Nimrod generation. I was led to read the book of Jasher, chapter what? Seven. If you know me and Seven have quite the relationship. But if you read in chapter seven, the story with Nimrod, and it'll really go into how the people were just really wicked, right? And there was a saying that became known even until today. And I'll start at verse 46. And all the earth was of one tongue and words of union. But Nimrod did not go in the ways of the Lord, and he was more wicked than all the men that were before him, from the days of the flood until those days. And he made gods of wood and stone, and he bowed to them, and he rebelled against the Lord, and taught all his subjects and the people of the earth his wicked ways. in Mardon, his son, was more wicked than his father. And everyone that heard of the acts of Mardon, the son of Nimrod, would say concerning him, from the wicked goes forth wickedness. Therefore, it became a proverb in the whole earth, saying, from the wicked goes forth wickedness. And it was current in the words of men from that time to this. And it goes into how Terah, which was Abraham's dad, worked for Nimrod, and that whole story, and the garments that was it Cush that stole the garments? Crazy. It's a whole story. I guess the garments that were given to Enoch, and Noah took these garments and brought them to the ark, and I guess Ham stole these garments from Noah, his father, and he took them and he hid them from his brothers. So you got to go into that story. But very interesting story how that just goes into so much, because a lot of people just have that spirit, and it doesn't matter like who you are, what you are, because I'm seeing incredible channels popping up that is just like totally breaking down some of like the liberal worldview that is like causing people some of their crap. And I just think it's because the media, I just think it's being raised with the wrong thing. But I was going into a little bit yesterday how the current mindset is like totally messed up. And a case in point, right? And this gentleman, Aboriginal, he commented and asked, if people who can't take correction, if that applies. And I'm like, of course that applies, because fools hate correction. You can tell them a million times, but again, it just depends on how you were raised as well. Because when I'm still at that age that I can reflect back at when I was a child and a teenager. I'm one of the very few people. I'm sure there's some of you out there. You guys just have an amazing mind, right? That I remember being in the crib as a baby, and like how my room was set up. I mean, like my memory was just that intense. We have that much intensity in our memory. It's pretty wild. So I'm just so thankful for the Most High for giving us that worldview, that we can remember. I mean, of course, we can't remember sometimes where we put paperwork or where we put our shoes, like, like last week, but that's okay. You end up finding it, right? But like the craziest things you remember. So that like shapes your mind completely, right? And you can still remember like how you felt at that time, and put it in perspective. Like, we've done the healing, we've actually grown up. A lot of people don't want to just grow the hell up. Like, internally they're still a child, they're stunted, and it's evident. You know what I mean? They haven't done the work to heal, men and women alike. Okay. Because when you're young and people try to correct you, what I want to say to the viewer is it depends on if the individual you're trying to help is worth helping, because you could give criticism because you care about somebody, you want the best for them, you can see what they're doing is self-destructive. But if they come from a place to, of course, when you're young, you think everybody's attacking you when they're trying to correct you. And the Bible does say spare not the rod of the child or whatever. So it depends on the age too, because at that age you're going to think everything's unfair, everything's whatever. But they can also been raised in a very hyper critical family dynamic, where it depends on if you're coming from a good place, and you're trying to correct them, is because they simply want to be deceived. This world wants the lie. You can see it. They are a bunch of freaking Nimrods. I mean, Nimrod was given power, and then it got to his head. And I was trying to find the verse, but I couldn't find it. It's okay. You can like look into it if you like. that I believe he captured the hearts of men. And there are channels online. I'm noticing the ones who are really, really picking up. This young man, the one who's trying to get everybody to get passports and get the hell out of Dodge. Well, he's speaking to the male thoughts out there. I didn't know there's a male thought prototype, but there are. It's like somatic narcissists, and there are cerebral narcissists too. But it's mostly speaking to them. And if you want to get more clarity on what's a male thought, I was watching a little bit of the channel Days of Noah. Really good channel, really popular channel. I'm sure you heard of him, but all you have to do is YouTube that, and it'll show you the mindset of some of these people. And that's what's wrong with people's mindset. They just love being deceived. They think everyone's the same that looks alike. I had that with my Alpha 7 media channel. I literally got gang stalked, like a lot of us are being gang stalked, right? For the right or wrong reasons, whatever, right? Who knows? Obviously people are obsessed with you, right? But this woman who I think it was a woman, I don't know. Again, people can put fake images on their profile all the time. I've seen it. And this picture was like too perfect. It was almost like it came out of a magazine, or it was like a Google stock image type of deal. And they were like going back and forth with me. And when anyone's going back and forth with you, like tit for tat, they obviously really care about your opinion. You know what I'm saying? I'm so short. I should like sit on my foot a little bit. They really, really care about your opinion. That's why they're going tit for tat. But this woman was really, really dumb. And it goes to show, too, for anyone out there, just because people look alike don't mean they move alike. That's why you really got to stop paying attention to people's spirit and knock all that other carnal, low-level, materialistic crap off. I know it's important to a point, but it's not the whole conclusion. Okay, so this lady, right, if it was a lady, she was going back and forth with me because we like to read books like, Joshua was referenced in the Bible, just so you know. And you're not going to get the whole story too, with like, who Cain, married, and that like Adam and Eve had more children than just Cain, Abel, and Seth, right? That's in the book of Jubilees, and the Catholic Church, divided all of that, right? So anybody who is like half educated by now with the age of information should already know that. I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer. I am sharp, but there's many smart people online who already know this fact. Okay, straight up. So this stupid woman, right, who's seemingly the same color as me, right, or whiter, paler, I would say. You can't even call this white, beige. Was like, oh, I don't know where she brought up the Sabbath, how that came up. I don't know what video. I guess I must have alluded to it somehow, because when I left the Christian church, I started learning more and more about the lunar and the solar calendar, and that that you need to incorporate the moon also with the month, and that was what the word was translated from in the Hebrew Bible. Common sense, if this woman knew anything about Hebrews, right? But she was like, oh, the Sunday is the Gregorian Sabbath, and the Saturday is the biblical Sabbath. Any Hebrew would tell you that. First of all, not all Hebrews even agree with the same thing. A lot of them are calling on different gods' names. A lot of them do ascribe to the I'm thinking you're using the Gregorian calendar to calculate the Sabbath. So you're talking madness. So you're saying the Sunday was the Gregorian Sabbath because the Catholics go to church on Sunday. Okay, a lot of Christians also go to church on Sunday, if you haven't noticed. And number two, your Sabbath is also the Gregorian Sabbath, right? Or maybe the worship of Saturn, even, because in the Bible, it was the first day, the second day, the third day. And I was raised with the Portuguese language, and they would say segunda-feira, terça-feira, quarta-feira, quinta-feira. You know what I mean? They would say it in the the order of the numbers. Okay, they don't even have pagan um actual person's names, you know, or Moon Day or Thor's Day or Odin's Day, whatever. Friar's Day, is that Friday, frig? So, you know what I'm trying to say? Even they don't even have that. So the world likes to be deceived. I'm like, oh my gosh, you are so much of a deceiver that you're confusing me. But the Lord, the Most High, is in control of both. I think that was in Job, but I first want to read Ezekiel because there's a lot of fakers and takers online. I've been seeing that, you know, especially these young men, they're so young and they're, I mean, what's up with people online? They don't want to like support the poor or people who really need it, right? The homeless, but they're given, I've seen this live stream and it was like the most toxic thing ever. And I'm like, people like being deceived and they'll have somebody online talking shit, really feeding in a lot of like, you know, a lot of bullshit stereotypes that are not true, like all women in America are bad, all women in America will put you in jail. And it's like, those type of men, obviously the more you listen to them, the more you can see they have toxic or they have issues with their mothers. And it's like, please get over it. And there are a lot of them are male thoughts, and that's just fine. They can just go do what they want to do. But that's the problem. They like being deceived. But my point is that most of the audience were men, and they were given so much money to this young man. And I'm like, this young man reminds me a lot of my son, who didn't like correction either, for my viewer. It just depends how much you care about the person, because of course my son, I loved him so much, and he's and I still do, and he's the same age as this young man, like 22, whatever. And like, you can't tell people nothing anymore, even if it's for their own benefit. Like, if someone's not worth my time, there's a line too that says, those who can be deceived, let them. Because if you're that weak-minded, I really don't respect weak-minded people, you know. And on this live stream, people, I've never seen more super stickers, how you can pay somebody when you're watching the live stream. I've seen there was some for $250, some for 200, some, this guy got almost 1,000 people. I've never seen that. I've never seen that in a law private chat. I never seen that in a biblical private chat. I never seen that anywhere. And I'm like, people like the bullshit, okay? And it's like, that's fine, you know, if you want to uproot your whole life, instead of just not letting yourself get played and just putting healthy boundaries. These are the same type of people who won't pay for a date, and call men simps, who are providers and protectors, and then wonder why those men get all the ladies and stuff. You know what I mean? And not that I'm into, you know, men having multiple ladies, but you understand though, right? It's like you can see a certain group of men who are like, oh, I was alpha, I was this, but they don't even know what alpha is. There's a term that's a pseudo alpha, and it's a male thought. They're so quick to harp on the women. And there's a lot of women. There's a great channel. I don't know the name now, but I'll have to plug that sometime, where they're talking about a lot of sexual abuse that happened in the Hebrew community, and of course in you know, the so-called white community, right? All of these communities, right? And there's a lot of men with really built up anger, and the deception is strong in these families, and that's what people need to face before they go out into the world. And that's why a lot of people can't take certain criticism and just judge people blanketly, because of their their limited negative experiences that they had in their life. They will project that on the whole group. But I don't hate all men, because I was assaulted by one as I was younger, you know, when I was younger, right? I let the, where's your faith? Where, you know, when you got men or women too online just preaching helplessness and rage and whatever, or want to talk about things from thousands of years ago that had nothing to do with them, or nothing to do with you and them. But you know, it's just people are just being deceived on a high level, but they like it. They like the drama, they like the adrenaline rush. It makes them feel alive. Some people really like to argue. They say that about me. I like to argue. No, I really don't, but I know how to stand my position. I just do it really well when I have to, because I just see a lot of the deception. I seen it in my own family. We'll have to get into this on another video, but just because it's just so many topics, but point blank, people like being deceived. But before I let you go, because I had a really good quote here, Ezekiel chapter 14, is this 14 verse 9? And if the prophet be deceived when he has spoken a thing, I the Lord have deceived that prophet, and I will stretch out my hands upon him, and will destroy him from the midst of my people Israel, and they shall bear the iniquity, the punishment of their iniquity. The punishment of the prophet shall be even as the punishment of him that seeks unto him, that the house of Israel may no more astray from me, neither be polluted any more with all their transgressions, but that they may be my people, and I may be their God, says the Lord. And I wanted to get Job before, because also I was raised with religious folks too, and they was supposedly really really strict when I was younger, but then it turned. They got super super liberal, or my mom did anyway, and really pushing the plastic surgery and all of that. So you have a lot of these so-called religious people, or people that say they're of God. Remember, higher level, different devils. That is like the highest stake in the game, where they want to capture your mind and your affection. And people love that. They love feeding people like that, and with money, with adoration, with gifts, with whatever, which a lot of the people in the Bible were doing that. A lot of them do it today. They're actually honoring their wicked ancestors with a lot of these holidays. And a lot of their descendants are really no better, and they have such a dirty mind. They always are up to no good, and that's why their mindset's messed up. Like I said in my prior videos, sometimes you really, instead of kickback bitching, you got to actively try to change your circumstances. And you find yourself in toxic relationships, man or woman, you got to ask yourself how you put yourself in certain situations. Even though my situation was pretty sad, I still had to look at myself and ask the Most High to protect me and never put me in a similar situation again. And where is your faith? Stop hating online, wasting people's time with all of this nonsense, but that's what people want. You know what I mean? Because if you have faith, the Most High is going to lay out the path for you. He's going to find you someone that's going to treat you right. He's going to give you the opportunity that you need. He's going to avenge your cause. And he did that for me. With my attacker, he took away the attacker's daughter, and she was in her prime, in her 20s. And I told him when he did this to me that one day it's going to happen to your daughter. And then it went and happened, because the Most High takes care of everything. I didn't sit and plot and scheme and whatever. But there are people who are such deceivers and such devils. They will convince themselves that, oh, I did nothing wrong, I did this and that. And I do know of women who are toxic, who will make false accusations. I've seen that with young children. It's like wicked begets wickedness, right? But the Most High is in control of if you're going to be deceived or not. He's going to be in control of your mind. Who are you going to fall for? So you always have to cling to him and ask, like, please keep me in line, keep me in check, so I don't fall for any of these games, because you almost got to blame yourself at the end of the day too, right? But there were people giving so much money to this toxic gentleman. I seen on another channel someone just preaching helplessness. Oh, this happened a long time ago. They did this and that. And it's like, well, they didn't do that to you. What are you doing? Like, but they like it. They want to harp on. That is their torch. A lot of people do have this cerebral and somatic, kind of both, narcissism, and like they can't even survive without the energy of the viewers. Like they literally live for it. And this YouTuber even said that they're able to quit their job and travel because the people are already supporting, and the people just want to be like with their pitchfork, all American women are evil. It's like, why don't you check how you were moving or whatever? And I don't care. I don't have a dog in the race, so don't come for me. I don't give two shits. But I was like, wow, there's nothing worse than weak-minded people. I don't know who's worse, the deceived or the deceivers. It's like almost the deceivers are worse, right? They're so embarrassing. They love it. I'm like, they love being lied to. But if you had a motivational message and you're trying to help them be really free and you're trying to, you know what I mean, or do something that's positive, they don't want none of that. That shit's boring. They won't even pay for like private coaching services or templates or anything to help them elevate, right? But they'll give hundreds. I've never seen somebody get that many. That's crazy. So Job chapter, I gotta let you go. This thing's gonna stop. Job chapter 12, verse 16. With him is strength and wisdom. The deceived and the deceiver are his. He leads counselors away spoiled and makes the judges fools. He loosens the bond of kings and girdeth their loins with the girdle. He pours contempt upon princes and weakens the strength of the mighty. I just skipped a verse. That's on 21. But this is Job chapter 12. There's a lot in there. I really appreciate this book. My aunt sent this to me when I was 18. I was incarcerated for a couple of months. And she put a kind message for me. Of course, she gave all praises to Jesus. I had to put the Most High, but I still kept it. So, I'm really grateful for that. Even though, some of my family can be toxic or whatever, I still know to appreciate the good in certain people, which a lot of people can't even do with each other, right? They're so quick to throw daggers at each other. But I don't play that stuff. I take, on this channel, we're all about accountability. Healing. I've been through a lot. I don't really talk too much about it. I have respect for the parties involved. But I know that the Most High will take care of all your causes. Don't want to be deceived. Pray not to be deceived. Keep your nose in the truth. Stay away from people who just say one thing, do another. They say they're not racist, but they're doing racism. They say they're not abusive, but they're saying abusive stuff. They say they're not catty, but they're acting really catty. I mean, really, men, women alike. Women do it too. There's a lot of toxic energy. I can do videos, segments about this. There's just so many stories. I didn't even touch on it. But people are deceived. That's why everyone's mindset is messed up. Don't judge a book by its cover. So elementary, but people are still doing these stupid games. Just like with that woman, she thought, oh, all Hebrews think alike. Like, no, they don't. Or that all people who look like me are colonizers, we're this, with that. I seen a brown man in a TikTok video screaming at a white woman like a freaking hyena, saying that. And it's like, you sound crazy, dude. It's like these people don't have accountability for anything and just want to blame. And it could be something so irrelevant. It could be something from another time, another place. Now you can see why King Henry II had to bring in the judicial system, because vendettas would never stop. It's like we need, people talk about peace, but all they want is war, and then they wonder why they don't have any resolve in their life. But religious people are the biggest ones, the biggest deceived. And they love it too, because in the church they're always saying, follow the word of the Most High, but then they're saying now it's okay now to get plastic surgery and everything else. And in my family, my mom was starting to say that, like, oh, I need a tummy tuck, I need this. And I even got a little shade when I wanted to take out my breast implants, and I knew that that was a bad mistake, and I knew that my self-worth came from within and the Most High, and I didn't need that. And she was throwing shade, saying, oh, that's a waste of money, oh, this and that. People can flip from being, I think the deceivers are the biggest deceived ones, because it's like, who do you think you're winning against? What do you have to prove? Because at the end of the day, you're going to lose with the Most High, right? Instead of making these low-level arguments with different groups of people, why don't you make sure that your soul is right? Because we're all going to die at the end of the day, right? And you can find wicked and good no matter where you go. So all we have to do is make sure that our intention is right, our soul is clean. And a lot of people are just walking dirty. They want dirty. They want the filth. They want their bread and circus. We're in the land of Babylon. People are you know, and want to be babies long time. They don't want to grow the hell up. And a lot of times they don't respect you enough to even listen to what you have to say. So that's why a lot of people don't like correction, because their mindset is totally messed up. They think they already have it all together. They think they're perfect. They think they know it all. They think they're smarter than you. That's pretty much what it is. I had the same thing with my son for a while. You send him to school, and then all of a sudden they think that their shit don't stink, that you just crawled from under a rock, you don't know anything, and they try to rule over you. But this generation wants to be deceived. They want the children to rule over them. They worship the children. You got this 20-year-old online, and he's commanding all this respect, and they're, kissing his feet like he's some king, and they're supporting his lifestyle. And I'm like, that's not how it's going to work, guys. It's not going to work. You need to be righteous, and you need to have a little bit of discernment, and have a pure spirit to be a good leader and to be a real alpha, no matter who you are. The Most High saw that in David, right? And most people were looking at Saul. So it's definitely your spirit, but the Most High, he controls both sides of the looking glass, both sides of the coin. So you have to just make sure that you're right with him. But yeah, people's mindset is totally, totally messed up. But most people are just, you have to look at their fruits, right? It's uh, the spirit of their fruits will tell you everything you need to know, right? Because wicked begets wickedness, right? From a wicked tree, there you go, there you go, there you go. But sometimes you get a good fruit here and there, but you got to prune the rest. But have a strong mind. Like I said, I think it's the deceived that are even worse than the deceivers, because the deceivers know what the hell they're doing. I can see it in their face, I can see it in their demeanor, and they're actually very, very cunning. And they wouldn't be shit if it wasn't for the freaking the suckers feeding them, the real simps, the fans feeding them the way they are when they're clearly toxic, and they just throw in the blame game, and their whole platform is either attacking a race of people or a gender or whatever. It's like they're so whack, and people were spending big bucks on that. So yeah, that's what is wrong with this generation, and how this mindset is messed up, because they want to be deceived, or they're too busy deceiving, right? Pretty sad. Make sure you clean your temple, guys. Get all of that junk out of you. I'm going to let you go. I'm surprised it let me even record that long. I put some maple syrup. That's how you want to sweeten it. Thank you so much again to my subscriber. I love you. I appreciate all the kind things. I take, all kind of treats for appreciation. I give out treats for appreciation. I'm actually making some right now. You can't really see. It's drying, but I made some amazing balm, which I'm gonna send to the subscriber who actually sent me the tea, and I'm waiting for it to end up like this. This is actually my lip balm. So good. Minty mango butter and shea butter. But yeah, guys, a lot of deception out there. Make sure that you stay true to yourself. I'll keep this at 30 minutes. I can't believe I'm still recording. Love you guys. Read the rest of Joshua 7. Don't listen to all the weak-minded people on there. Stay true to yourself. Stay plugged in to the Most High. He's going to keep you super sharp. That way you don't fall for all the booby traps online, in the real world, anywhere, okay? And there's just a lot of false players online that they have different spiels, but they're doing a really good job, because that's what people like. They like the drama. They just want, you can waste a whole day just being caught up in that bullshit, and it's really sad. And that the real stuff that people should be learning about, they don't want to waste their time listening to, right? And then they wonder why the world is the way it is. Oh, it's society who does this. Society does. You seeing men of all walks of life just blaming society. Well, you know what I mean? Be a little bit more specific than that. And I want to hear like personal testimonies with you too. I know that there's some women who can be liars, but I also know evil men too. Now, what you got there? Okay, so you just always got to protect yourself and learn your rights, and that's what we try to teach. But when you put people onto stuff like that, that's boring to them. So whatever, to each their own. Enjoy the drama. People love the deception, guys. Have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you soon.